Because of its picturesque canals, outstanding museums, and dynamic nightlife, Amsterdam is a popular tourist destination. However, too much of anything is bad. Because of its loosened restrictions and easygoing way of life, this successful metropolis has long been held up as an example of what a free and tolerant society may be like. From drugs to public sex, the list of things permitted in the Dutch capital is comically long. But is that anything to rejoice about? Not that the current status of Amsterdam is horrible, but one must confront reality every once and again. But seriously? Even in Amsterdam, where many previously unlawful behaviors are now completely legal, there would be repercussions. Some people would get a bad hand, and now is a terrific time to look into the city's seedier side. To begin, what do you suppose the consequences of consuming legal substances are? It is critical to realize that not all drugs are completely legal in Amsterdam. The city earned worldwide prominence when cannabis cafes sprung up in the city when the Netherlands legalized marijuana use and sale in 1976. The Guardian, however, pointed out that possessing more than 5 grams, 0.18 ounces, of it is technically unlawful. Although the substance was never officially sanctioned by the government, it was widely accepted for private, often therapeutic use. In reality, Amsterdam cafes are only permitted to sell cannabis, not produce it. The municipal and national governments are not at fault for the lack of attention. Perhaps if Miley Cyrus hadn't lit up a joint on stage at the MFB Europe Music Awards in 2013, more people would be aware of the actual drug laws in the country. This and other propaganda-style advertisements imply that drug use is legal in the city. Reuters reports that Amsterdam's liberal attitude toward cannabis usage has extended to other, more deadly substances. A 2019 city-commissioned investigation titled The Other Side of Amsterdam revealed widespread misunderstandings about the city's legal drug culture and the societal effects. According to the research, Amsterdam has given free rein to a motley crew of drug criminals, a ring of hustlers and parasites, middlemen and extortionists, dubious notaries, and real estate agents. As a result, the current crime rate in Amsterdam is lower. While this is generally good news, it is concerning that 2 years after Reuters' initial report, the city's highest-rated crime is still drug dealing at 48.24. It's no longer only a drug problem, and it's getting worse. Now the question is, what difficulties do Amsterdam's sex workers face? The permissive attitude towards sexuality in Amsterdam has been lauded and condemned almost as much as the city's drug culture. On one side of the debate, the city is praised for being progressive and welcoming in a field where women have long been underrepresented. Sex workers now have official employment with benefits and tax obligations. However, the city has failed to persuade the remaining citizens. According to foreign policy, people have a difficult time divorcing themselves from the perception that sex work is fundamentally tied to human trafficking, despite continued efforts to prevent both. Human trafficking is commonly confused with sex labor. According to Velvet December, campaign coordinator for Proud, the Dutch Union of Sex Workers in Amsterdam, this and the dichotomy attached to it for categories of sex workers, the happy hooker and the poor victim, leaves no room for the realities we face and does not address the problems we see. According to the same article, not all of the city's anti-sex crime actions have benefited sex workers considerably. After the implementation of Urban Development Plan Project 1012 in 2009, legal sex work, for example, was mostly confined to the streets of Oudeniestraat and Oudezijds Achterbergwal. When forced to relocate from their own neighborhood, De Wallen, to only 2 small sections of the capital, many sex workers resorted to working illegally or fled to other cities where their trade was legal. Nonetheless, it was the workers who lost out in the end. Did you know that, aside from sex work, doing sexual acts in public is entirely legal in the Netherlands? If you're walking down the street and see a couple having sexual relations in broad daylight, don't bother calling the cops. They have the legal right to do so, regardless of how it makes you feel. Furthermore, being naked in public is not only legal, but also considered the norm in Amsterdam. You won't see many individuals strolling around naked, but if you do, no one will notice. The Netherlands has relatively lax laws governing sexual behavior and body exposure. Naturally, this has caused a tremendous amount of difficulty. While the Dutch approach to sex and nudity is progressive in some ways, many criminals have taken advantage of it. Many rapists attempt to justify their actions by claiming that their victims were not dressed appropriately for the weather. That is, thankfully, no longer the norm in legal settings. But how much would sexual harassers see a location where public sex and nudity might readily run wild as a free-for-all to commit such heinous acts? With that, our video for today has come to a close. On your way out, please click the subscribe button. For the time being, farewell.